Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, Karma Yoga, text number 25. Saktaha karmanya vidvamso yatha kurvanti bharata kuryad vidvams tatha saktas chikirshur lokas sangraham. Krishna says, as the ignorant perform their activities with attachment to results, the learned may similarly act, but without attachment, for the sake of leading the people on the right path. So Janak Maharaj in the past and so many Rajarishi kings, they also performed the kingly duties, but they had no interest in those activities as a king. They just did it for leading the people on the right path. So one should actually perform their duty, uh, and just by doing your duty and offering your results to Krishna, you can achieve all siddhis, all perfections. Later in the ninth chapter, also same particular theme will come. So what happens when generally some person comes and there is a dispute that somebody is in knowledge and somebody is not in knowledge? Then how should one in knowledge guide someone who is ignorant? न बुद्धि भेद जनयेद आज्ञानाम कर्म संगिनाम जोशयेत सर्व कर्माणि विद्वान युक्त समाचरण. Otherwise, what will somebody will say? Oh, you are doing the adharmic activities or sinful activities. Your entire life is sinful. So give up everything and join me. That will not happen. So as not to disrupt the minds of the ignorant men attached to the fruitive results of prescribed duties, a learned person should not induce them to stop work. Somebody is totally business-oriented person. He says, if I invest some amount, then I'll get 100%. Sort of every activity is want of some result in huge uh, huge amount. So he is fixed into his psychophysical nature. And somebody will come that, oh, actually, you should not act like that. Give up that mentality. Stop that particular mentality. So it will not be beneficial for that person. Because the momentum is such a that, just imagine on a mountain, if you push a boulder and it actually gets the momentum and then you start stopping that particular boulder, anything comes in between, it will crash. So what we have to do to such person who is attached to fruitive activity? The point is, everybody has to act. Problem is, if you are attached, then you will get bound. But learned act, learned perform same activities, but without attachment. So that's why they remain clear, shant, happy. So now you have to preach to someone who is actually attached to fruitive results. What you have to do? Joshayit sarva karmani. Inspire him to do same activities, sarva karmani, vidwan yukta samacharam. Yukta means engage in such a way, by working in the spirit of devotion, he should engage him in all sorts of activities. Mean the sense, tell him that you offer your results to Krishna. You perform, because his momentum means he will act. But inspiration should be given that you will get more actually if you offer it to Krishna. And actually it is a fact. If Krishna is happy, then he fulfills yoga kshemam vahamyam. If he knows that by giving him something is going to come to me, he will give you. So, like in the previous days of Krishna consciousness, people would inspire. I mean, America. Okay, if a vegetable owner is there, if a Rath Yatra is there, you give your vegetables, grocery shop, grocery. You have pandal, offer pandal. Cars, you offer cars. So everything is like offer your services to Krishna. You don't have to give up your job like that. Because Vedescha Sarver Aham Eva Vedya. By whatever we do, You should understand the Bhoktaram is Krishna. Therefore, a realized soul in Krishna consciousness should not disturb others in their activities or their understanding. But he should act by showing how the results of all work can be dedicated to the service of Krishna. You have to tell him, we can do that. Businessman, you multiply your business by making Krishna as your partner. Like that. So by that, he will have a regulation. And when just later we are going to see that how Krishna in 12th chapter says, by giving we become peaceful and we actually are eligible to understand higher knowledge. So even charity is good, then you get knowledge because you have given up the hoarding mentality, and then you get a knowledge. Then you start working for Krishna, and then you surrender to Krishna. So these are the four stages. Actually, we are going to see that in 12th chapter. So we are right now understanding karma aspect, karma yoga. We cannot stop work. Everybody has to work. uh, every conditioned soul will act for results, but slowly we have to understand by this mentality of wanting something in return will perpetually be in the life of, will continue in the cycle of birth and death, 14 planetary system. That's why it is said, Yajna karmano, work for only satisfaction for Vishnu. Otherwise, karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. If you act otherwise, for want of result, then you will be bound in 14 planetary systems. Lokoyam means loko, 14 planets. Bandhana means bound with different sort of bodies. So tadartham karma kaunteya, samacharam. Completely dedicating to Krishna, you act in such a way. What will happen? Mukta Sangha. You will get liberated, will get freed from all the reactions. Okay? And then somebody comes to you, then you also inspire him to dedicate everything to slowly to Krishna. Prakrute kriyamanani gune karmani sarvashah ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyata. Which is a general practice. The spirit soul, he is bewildered by the three modes of material nature. Basically, a false ego in ignorance and passion. He thinks himself the doer of activity. But actually, these are activities are carried out by the three modes of material nature. By our previous psychophysical nature, we select guna, sattva, raja, tama, by choosing the objects of sense objects. Are getting it? And that rope binds us. One stick binds us. Second, like that. And then that guna becomes our nature. I mean, just like a drunkard will go, if you go, if you call him for a Janmashtami, then he walks and immediately he sees, oh, bar. So he doesn't need any counseling. From inside, he will move there. So, like, because he has clicked it, chosen that particular guna, tamaguna. Rajaguna and Sattva same, right? But all this, in all these three gunas, the person thinks, whatever I am doing, maine kamaya hai, I am the doer. But he doesn't see, he is actually been like a puppet, work as a puppeteer. By the puppeteer means maya hai, but the gunas actually are working. So, two-person may be seen by the outsider, a bhakta and non-bhakta. working on the same level. Somebody is a factory owner, other is also factory owner. But the difference, there is a wide gulf of difference between their respective position, because one is actually working on the platform of false ego. I am doing it, and somebody is doing it because it is Krishna's property. I belong to him. Everything, intelligence is given by Krishna, and all the facilities, the result is also belongs to Krishna only. But he is also very dedicated to his work. ऐसा नहीं कि चलो अभी everything कृष्णा थोड़ा सो लेता. No, he will also will think about profit only. The outsider cannot make a difference. Only one who is in knowledge can understand. So Prabhupada writes in the last paragraph, what happens? The soul does not know that this gross and subtle body is actually given by Krishna by the facility of material nature. Material nature doesn't act freely, independently. It is under the Krishna's order only. And as such, his bodily and mental activities should be engaged in the service of Krishna. So everything belongs to Krishna. Maya is also Krishna's servant. Three gunas are under Maya, and we also belong to Krishna. And all Bhumo Rapu Nalo Vayu Kham Mano Buddhi Revacha. Everything belongs to Krishna. Everything should be offered to Krishna. But actually, what happens? The ignorant person forgets Krishna, and that's how he forgets everything in connection with Krishna. And that's why, because of long misuse of his free independence, he thinks the sense gratification is the only goal of life. Tattvavittu mahabaho gunakarma vibhagayo guna guneshu vartanta iti matvana sajjate. One who is in knowledge of the absolute truth does not engage himself in the senses and the sense gratification, knowing well the differences between work in devotion and work for fruity results. He knows, oh, he is working in the factory, but he is in knowledge. So he is not, his work is work in devotion. And one who is completely working for sense gratification, how to improve my lifestyle by earning more money, he is in his work is for fruity results. So what makes difference? Knowledge. So thief is one who doesn't actually understand that if I steal somebody's property, I get jail and my freedom is restricted. He keeps on doing the same activities. But a person in knowledge, he knows what is to be done, what is not to be done, and he will refrain from thievery. Okay, same thing applies here. Fruitive activity is like a stealing from Krishna, right? And the person in knowledge will utilize that in Krishna's service and take as a prasad, whatever is given by Krishna. So what is knowledge? So here is Tattvavit. Tattvavittu Mahabaho. So what is the definition of Tattvavit? So according to Srimad Bhagavatam, one who knows the absolute truth in three stages, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. He is he is called Tattvavit. Because of his knowing these three stages, he also knows his constitutional position also. That he is a servant. He is servant of Krishna. That is Tattvavit. Absolute truth means Paramasatya. To know that and to know one's constitutional position as a servant of Krishna. Such a person will not take any interest in sense gratification because he knows that will bind him again into bodily activity. Okay. Prakrute guna sammudha sajjante guna karmasu tan krishna madan tan krishna vido mandan krishna vinna vichalayet. Bewildered by the modes of material nature, the ignorant fully engage themselves in material activities and become attached. But the wise should not unsettle them, although these duties are inferior due to the performer's lack of knowledge. Now we'll read this purport. Persons who are unknowledgeable falsely identify with the gross material consciousness and are full of material designations. This body is a gift from material nature, and one who is too much attached to the bodily consciousness is called manda, lazy. A person without understanding of spirit soul. Ignorant men think of body as a self and they accept bodily connection with others as kinsmanship and land in which the body is obtained as their object of worship, and they consider formalities of religious rituals to be ends in themselves. So these are the words in 11th canto, there is translation in there. So from their point of view, social work, nationalism, altruism are some of the activities of such, they are the main activities. Under the spell of such a designation, they are always busy in the material world, material field. For them, spiritual realization is a myth, and so they are not interested in that. Those who are enlightened in spiritual life, however, should not try to agitate such material engrossed persons. Better to prosecute one's own spiritual activities silently. Such bewildered persons may be engaged in such primary moral principles of life as non-violence and similarly materially benevolent work. Krishna is saying we should not disturb them, otherwise what will happen? They will revolt. What we have to do? We have to practice our Krishna consciousness silently. Because there are two, for example, just like take it uh, when this revolution started, okay, brahmacharya ashram has started, you know, everybody was so agitated. Right? They have got so much education and they were about to get married and suddenly they have changed their lifestyle. So it's a like agitation. Few people became very furious and they started, uh, making allegations against the preachers and so on and so forth. So because general human being thinks that okay, get education, get married, have a job, have children, and then so on and so forth, live your life. But this Kali Yuga mentality has forgotten our previous Vedic lifestyle. That this part of life which generally is going on was only for 25 years only, from 25 to 50. And 50 onwards, people will become like they would start for preparation for renounce order, vanaprastha, and they would take sannyas. But in between, the training was lost. So what has happened? The modern education took over science. That okay, life's only goal is to live peacefully and die peacefully, right? Without any education of who we are, from where we have come, from here where we will go, why miseries are there, why there is birth, why death, why old age disease. There is no inquiry for that. Adado Brahma Jigyasa stopped. That's why not more people have started working on it. So suddenly then, if you start preaching like that, then people will, uh, they want models. Yeah, what they want? Ideal lifestyle. Okay, it's going on and they are giving something without disturbing their daily routine life, then they will accept. Suddenly, if you change their lifestyle, that's why na buddhi veda janaye ajnana karma sanjana. So slowly we have to gel, just like uh, Parsi came to India the Parsi king. He said, so what he did, uh, he came to India, so he said, we want to stay in. So that king sent one glass of milk to him, full glass. He said, glass is full, we can't allow you to come. So what he did, Parsi, they added sugar in and sent it. That we will live, we will jail into you, your lifestyle, and will not overflow. Like that. समझ आया ना? So we have to, previously the preaching was so uh, like forceful that, oh, our way is the only way. That's why people will not taking anything seriously, right? But now something like we are part of a society, isn't it? Very important part. Everybody is important. Just like body, everything is important. Head, hands, legs, stomach. Don't but nobody says, okay, this is the only one. Although head is important, more important. But other parts are also important. So we have to tell them. So this is very important. Krishna Vinna Vichalaya. In the sense, one should not, one should be have a balanced life. Understand? Balanced life means Janma Sarthak Kari Kara Para Upkar. So we have to put focus on Janma Sarthak also. Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasyadhyatma Chetasa Nirashir Nirmama Bhutva Yuddhasva Vigata Jvara. Sorry. Therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all your works unto me with full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, and free from lethargy, fight. There are many adjectives, you know, like Nirashir, Nirmamo, Vigata Jvara. What are they? The Prabhupada writes that one who depends solely and wholly on the Supreme Soul without personal consideration, or in other words, one who is fully Krishna conscious, is called Adhyatma Chetasa. Chetana, Chet. So Adhyatma Chetasa means who is completely Krishna conscious. So Krishna is saying you have to fight, but with what kind of qualities? No claims for proprietorship, because everything is mine. No, without desire for profit. So here say it is written Nirashir, Nirasha, Nirasha. So Prabhupada gives example of a cashier of a bank. A bank cashier can actually count millions of dollars for his employer, but he cannot claim a cent for himself. Nirashir. इन्हें बोला बहुत अभी जमा के 1 किलो करोड़ खिस्सों में डाल नहीं, not possible. So Nirashir, no proprietorship. And if you say, if I cannot claim for anything, I have to work so much, then why I have to work dedicatedly? Lethargy. I will not put my 100%. No, Vigata Jvara. Give up all kind of lethargy, free from lethargy, fight. As your duty, as a duty. And with full knowledge of me. It's very important. Mai Sarvani Karmani. That it is, you are doing it for me. Nirmama means nothing is mine. Vigatadara means without any lethargy or feverish mentality. Because generally when our duty comes, somebody says, okay, do your job, then either of these four will happen. They'll think, hey, mera hai, you go there, this is my seva, proprietorship. Or something I want, profit. So itna seva kiya, I need something. Without knowledge of me, we don't know for whom we are doing it, for whose pleasure we are doing it. That knowledge also be there, and there should not be lethargy. Chalo, ठीक है. मुझको करना है, मेरे को मिल नहीं रहा है तो मैं जाने तो सो रहा हूँ. Like that. This is what is the knowledge about Krishna. This is Krishna's perspective. ये में मतम इदम नित्यम अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानवा श्रद्धावंतो अनुसूयन्तो मुच्यन्ते ते अपि कर्म. So this is the law of karma. I mean, law of action, you can say. Krishna is saying. Now Krishna is proposing those person who execute their duties according to my injunctions. These are all injunctions I have given to you. And who follow these teachings faithfully, without envy. Generally, what has happened? We have envied Krishna because we had to obey him. That's why we came here. So without envy, if you do, he becomes free from the bondage of fruitive action. But few people will be there, they will envy. ये तो एदभ्य असूयन्तो नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतम सर्व ज्ञान विमूढ़ास्ताम विद्धि नष्टान चेतसा. But those who out of envy disregard these teachings and do not follow them are to be considered bereft of all knowledge, befooled and ruined in their endeavors for perfection. This is the condition of one who is into completely materialistic lifestyle. They will not follow that. And they will perpetually be bound in the cycle of reactions, karmic reactions. Sadrusham cheshtate swasyaha prakrutiर्ज्ञानवानपि प्रकृतिं यान्ति भूतानि निग्रह किं करिष्यति. Even a man of knowledge acts according to his own nature. For everyone follows the nature he has acquired from the three modes. What can repression accomplish? So unless one is situated on the transcendental platform of Krishna consciousness, he cannot get free from the influence of the modes of material nature. That's why Krishna is saying, "Ye nistray gundo bhavarjuna." You try to please me. That is the only way you can actually go beyond the modes. Are you getting me? Because even the knowledge is there, Jnani, they achieve the stage of Aham Brahmasmi, but because they do not follow what? They do not have a respect for Krishna's lotus feet. They don't offer respect. Patanti adho anandritas. So as compared to fruitive workers, and the fruitive workers means those who are sakam karmi, Jnanis are more elevated because they know what is body, what is soul, how the sense objects are very dangerous. Are you getting me? But because they have not followed what? Krishna's injunctions. What happens? They again fall. The Gyan doesn't help them. So repression means what they do, oh, neti, 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 neti. It will never work. And they again fall down. But a devotee is like Yukta Vairagi. Yukta Vairagi utilizes everything, but he knows how to use it in Krishna's service. And that way he is safe. So, even the most highly educated person on the mundane plane, it is impossible to get out of entanglement of Maya simply by theoretical knowledge or by separating the soul from the body. So, Aham Brahmasmi, they know exactly we are not body. So, they don't eat actually. The Mayavadis, they will generally eat just chickpeas, fried chickpeas. Because kya? Body is, we are not body. Kathor tapasya. But again, they will fall back to social activities only. Welfare activity, hospital. So there is no soul has to be satisfied. Soul can be only satisfied by service to Krishna. Amsha, the part of whole can be fully nourished if he's connected to the whole, WHO, like that. So that's why we need a superior training, guidance. So under the superior guidance of spiritual master, when we utilize our uh, senses in service to Krishna, then it is possible to overcome the challenges given by three modes. And then one may be freed from the clutches of Maya. Otherwise not. It's a link. Again, we have to do so 3, 4, and 5th. So basically, 3 and 3rd and 5th is again karma yoga. How to understand karma. So 1st to 6th is a karma yoga we are seeing. 7 to 12 is bhakti yoga. 13 to 18 is jnana yoga. Okay. So we need a knowledge of how to perform activity with the knowledge, jnana yoga, and perform bhakti. How to, with the acquiring knowledge, how to purify or how to guide our activities to make it a bhakti yoga. It's a Gita. Okay. Indriyasya indriyasyarthe ragadvesho vyavastito tayor navashamagachet tauhiyasya paripanthino. These are the principles to regulate attachment and aversion pertaining to the senses and their objects. One should not come under the control of such attachment and aversion because they are stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization. So understand that there are two principles to regulate what? One is at our attachment, raga, and aversion is the dvesha. But both are actually detrimental to us. Now, what happens actually while doing something, we get attached to both. So Prabhupada gives an example. So this purport is very important. Those who are in Krishna consciousness are naturally reluctant to engage in material sense gratification. But those who are not in such consciousness follow the rules and regulations revealed in scripture. So unrestricted sense enjoyment is cause of material engagement. But one who follows the rules and regulations of regulated scriptures does not become entangled by the sense object. For example, sex enjoyment is allowed under the license of marriage ties. Again, so that is the rules and regulations. If you want to marry, to have a sense enjoyment, marry the rules and regulations. Okay. Now, according to scriptural injunction, one is forbidden to engage in sex relationship any other woman with any other woman other than one's wife. Now, all such rules and regulations are there. Still, in spite of such injunctions, a man is still inclined to have sex relationship with other women. These propensities are to be curbed, otherwise they will be stumbling blocks on the path of self-reliance. As long as there is material body, the necessities of material body are allowed, but under the rules and regulations. And yet we should not rely upon the control of such allowances. Even though you are following rules and regulations, still there is a there is a chance of falling down because the propensity is too so. So there is an example also given. One has to follow those rules and regulations unattached to them. Because practice of sense gratification under the regulation may also lead one to go astray. As much as there is always a chance of an accident, even on the royal roads. There are no speed breakers. Fast, but accident will happen even there. So don't only get. So understand the purpose that we have to stop sense gratification. The purpose is to stop, not to follow rules and regulations or principles only. If you just rely on only, this is the principle I am following, again you can follow that. But the actual message is regulate, stop. Regulate, and then that's why Grahastha ashram, then Vanaprastha ashram. slowly he actually stays with wife. I mean, do Tirthayatra, come back, but no sort of other act, no sansari activity. चलो अब ये पर्दा क्या लगाएंगे? I mean, so, generally what happens in the house? No, only, I mean, talks about God. And then slowly, then he renounces means Hare Krishna, no wife connection with wife. That is ideas. So rules and regulations, slowly give up even that, and the main principle is followed, which is to get rid of three modes. I mean, in the sense that श्रेयान् स्वधर्म विगुणः परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात् स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेय परधर्मो भयावह. It is far better to discharge one's prescribed duties, even though faultily, than another's duty perfectly. Destruction in the course of performing one's own duty is better than engaging in another's duty, for to follow another's path is dangerous. Because all of us has our own psychophysical nature, which cannot be changed drastically. Psychophysical nature means it has so much of investment is done by us in previous lives to make that nature. So drastically we cannot change it. We have to purify it under the guidance of spiritual master. Then you can do anything. So now Arjuna is wanting to become a Brahmana, but he is a Kshatriya by sacrificial nature. He can't do that. But if he surrendered to Krishna for a long time, I mean, spiritual master, then by the order he can do anything later by purifying his nature. Right? So there are very few people. So Krishna says that everyone has to cleanse his heart by a gradual process, not abruptly. Suddenly, overnight, we cannot change. Somebody may say, oh, now I have become peaceful. Peaceful. Suddenly, next day, he may kill also. Because we have to be gradually from thorough, from within, we have to change ourselves. However, when one transcends the modes of material nature and is fully situated in Krishna consciousness, he can perform anything and everything under the direction of bona fide spiritual master. So, spiritual master can actually make a disciple to actually work for in four varna: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra also. Pujari work for Pujari, get funds, manage everything, clean everything. He can do that. So, in that complete stage of Krishna consciousness, Kshatriya can become Brahmana, Brahmana can become Kshatriya. But it is a transcendental stage. For example, Vishwamitra was Kshatriya, but he became a Brahmana. And Parshuram was Brahmana, but he became acted like a Kshatriya. But being transcendentally situated, they could do so. But as long as one is in the material platform, he must perform his duties according to the modes of material nature. Like that. Now, another section is there where Krishna is saying, Arjuna Vacha, Atha Kena Prayuktoyam Papam Charati Purusha. Anichan Api Vashneya Baladiva Niyojana. Just like he's saying that those who are strictly following the rules and regulations also, right? Still the inclination is there to do sinful activity. What is that? Again, it is said one is by what one is impelled to sinful acts even unwillingly. Unwillingly means those who are actually following the rules and regulations. They know that this should not be done. As if engaged by force, they are forced to do that. Hmm. Right. So what he is saying, Arjuna was Atha Kena Prayuktoyam Papam Charati Purusha Anichanapi Vashnaya Baladeva Niyojita. So Papam, sinful activity, Baladeva, as if by force one acts Anichanapi, even if he doesn't want to, he is following the rules and regulations, still he is impelled to act sinfully. What is that? So Krishna says, Sri Bhagavan Vacha काम एष क्रोध एष रजो गुण समुद्भव महाशनो महापाप्मा विद्धेनम इह वैरिणम. So our nature, ideal, I mean, our constitutional nature is to serve Krishna lovingly. There is a love, prema. But by that nature, by coming in contact with the material world, which is prominently in passion and ignorance, what happens? That is transformed into lust. So that what is that impelling force? It is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion, and later in transform into wrath, and which is the all devouring sinful enemy of this world. The entire world, there is the uh, undergoing vibration of this passion and ignorance. That is lust. Just like we have so many times we have described, the clean water from the rain is the prema, clear water, fresh water. But when it touches the earth, it becomes muddy. Yeah? You can't drink it. It will be purified. Similarly, the when living entity comes in contact with material nature, his eternal love for Krishna is transformed into lust. Prema becomes lust. In the association with the mode of passion. Passion means I want to enjoy more and more, not happy. Or in other words, the sense of love of God becomes transformed into lust as milk in contact with sour tamarind is transformed into yogurt. Then again, lust is unsatisfied, then it becomes wrath. Wrath is transformed into illusion, and illusion continues our material existence. Illusion means doesn't know what we are doing, right? So in anger, we do so many activities, then we come to understand, okay, ये इतना नहीं करना चाहिए. Again, because at that stage, later is actually we'll come to understand, we don't see what is happening by us because we are in illusion. So because our end result is we are in the miserable condition, who has brought us into this miserable condition? This lust. That's why it is our greatest enemy. And right now, what we have done? We have made this enemy as our best friend. We think he is fulfilling our all desire. This is all because of our misuse of independence. When the service attitude is transformed into the propensity for sense enjoyment, we come under the sway of lust. So now again we have to bring back ourselves from lust to love, means we have to give up our independent sense gratificatory attitude to service attitude. Again, transform. If see water has touched to the mud, the soil, it has become muddy. Now again you purify it, again it can become pure and drinking water. Now we have to do exactly opposite, purificated process, 9 process of devotional service. Same, the lust can become prema. Anartha nivritti. How this lust affects us? What happens? धूमेना व्रियते वहनिर यथा दर्शो मलेन च यथो ब्लेनावृतो गर्भस्तथा तेनेदम आवृतम. Lust actually covers our intelligence. Not our intelligence, it covers ourselves completely. Mind, intelligence, everything. How? By 3 ways. As fire is covered by smoke, sometimes fire is there, but you can't see that because so much of smoke. As a mirror is covered by dust, and or the embryo is covered by the womb. The living entity is similarly covered by the different degrees of lust, higher and higher and higher. So although fire is necessary, there is a where there is a smoke, there is no overt manifestation of fire in the early stage. We require fire for cooking also. Again, without fire we cannot cook. So this first stage is, smoke doesn't actually, with the smoke, the effect of fire doesn't get diminished so much, right? It is disturbance there. So that's why this stage is like beginning of Krishna consciousness. The dust on the mirror refers to the cleansing process of a mirror of the mind by so many spiritual methods. Cheto darpanam arjanam. And for that best process is to chant the holy names of the Lord. And the embryo covered by the womb is an analogy illustrating the helpless position for the child in the womb. Is so hopeless that it cannot even move. The child in the womb cannot even move also. So these stages of a living condition can be compared to the trees. Trees cannot move. They are also soul, but they are so lusty that they have been given the position like their intelligence is so much covered, they cannot move on. Trees. The covered mirror is compared to the birds and beasts. They also are covered, right? Their intelligence covered, but not like trees. Birds can move from here and there. Second position. But the smoke covered by fire is actually compared to the human being. Quickly we can remove the smoke and actually become Krishna conscious. In the form of human being, the living entity may revive a little Krishna conscious. And if he makes further development, the fire of spiritual life can be kindled in the human form of life. Like that. So it depends on the attitude of a sadhaka, how he can progress. We actually puts so much effort into Krishna consciousness, then that little spark can actually ablaze and actually can remove or burn to ashes all the unwanted anarthas within. So in one passage, Prabhupada writes, even actually Bhagavatam says, just like in a tree, if there is a fire, inside, it burns entire tree, Similarly, the super soul within, what it does, it helps actually. If we take, there are two birds, and if The jiva actually continuously gives, uh, actually hears the super soul, the orders of super soul, then actually he can benefit his entire life. But what actually we do? We ignore super soul's orders actually, and we try to search from the fruits from one branch to other branch, other, like that. So if we are tuned with Paramatma, then we can actually burn our subtle body. Our existence is perpetually in this material world flourishing. Why? Because we have a tough spiritual, our subtle body. Gross body will anyway end. The subtle body, to remove subtle body, to actually what do you call, the burn the subtle body is very difficult. In fact, subtle body only carries us from one body to another body, and subtle body can be burned by fire of Krishna consciousness. Adhyatma Chetasaha. Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. So, so that is the remedy. So only in human form of life one can conquer this enemy of lust. Not in any other tree body or beast body or no other body. Only human form. By right association under the right direction of bona fide spiritual master. By cultivation of Krishna consciousness under able guidance. We need guidance. And we get, if we get a guidance, we have to implement that, apply that. So what are the qualities of this lust? Avrutam jnanam etena jnanino nitya vairina kamarupena kaunteya duspurena analena cha. Thus the wise living entity's pure consciousness becomes covered by his eternal enemy in the form of lust. And what are the qualities? Which is never satisfied. Lust is never satisfied. Second, which burns like fire. These are the two qualities. So three first is actually it covers our intelligence. It always burns like fire and it is never satisfied. So that's why this entire world, which is its only goal is sense gratification. That's why it is said, Maithunya Agar, the shackles of sex life. In the ordinary prison house, criminals are kept within the bars, right? So that they cannot escape. But similarly, the criminals who are disobedient to the laws of the Lord are shackled by sex life. So we are being bound by sex shackles. So how to get out of this? Indriyani manobuddhir asyadhishtana muchyate eter vimoha yattesha jnanam avrutya dehinam. First of all, to conquer the enemy, we have to find out where it is, where it stays. कहाँ का उसका अड्डा है, लेकिन where he stays, the senses, the mind and the intelligence. Senses, mind and intelligence. These are the sitting places of this lust. Through them, lust covers the real knowledge of living entity and bewilders him. He actually tells him that this is important. We have to do it. So mind is actually the center of all activities of the senses. And actually it supplies all the previous reports of sense gratification. Earlier you have done that. So it's better actually. And that's why uh, the intelligence becomes lusty. And lusty intelligence influences the spirit soul to acquire the false ego and identify itself with the matter. So entirely, whenever the senses comes in sense object, contact with the sense objects, mind takes over and says that, oh yes, this is the way, you go for it. And then the his identity becomes, so intelligence is the next door neighbor of spirit soul. Sorry. So next, the intelligence department becomes capital of such lustful propensities. Once somebody acts in that, intelligence knows, oh, how better you can do that. He marks it. And that's why the false ego takes over intelligence and mind. And then he identifies with the matter. Thus, with the mind and senses. The spirit soul becomes addicted to enjoying the material senses and mistakes this as a true happiness. That's why it is said our intelligence is corrupted. Because if intelligence is no, I mean, if we get a real knowledge, then we know this is wrong, this is right. But false ego says no, no, it is covered means illusion. है कि नहीं? Illusion means जो पागल हो गए है कि नहीं बोला अरे ऐसा नहीं करते थोड़ा नहीं ऐसा ही करते so we have to bring him again into real knowledge. So this spirit soul has identified himself falsely with the matter, and this is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. How far a devotee, a soul can go to such a madness to identify with the matter. यस्यात्म बुद्धि गुणपे त्रिधातुके स्वधि कलत्र आदिषु भौम्य इज्जति यत्तीर्थ बुद्धि सलिलेन करहिचित जनेषु अभिज्ञेषु स एव गोखर. That human being who identifies himself with the body, which is made of three materials, kapha, vitta, vayu, three dhatuke, he thinks that I am the body, who considers the byproducts of the body to be kinsmen. Swadi, Kalatra, wife and Adishu, as his family member. मेरे सैन्य है वो, कभी मैं मेरा छोड़ेगा नहीं वो साथ. And Bhaumya Ijjati, the land of my birth is my worshipable भूमि. मैं यहाँ पे पैदा हुआ, तो worshipable. And yat tirtha buddhi salile. What is tirtha? There is a water body. Who goes to the pilgrimage just to take bath, not to get knowledge from the sadhus there about Krishna, about transcendental knowledge. No. Such a person is considered to be just like an ass or cow. Krishna is telling this. This shloka is spoken by Krishna. This was how soul identifies with the matter. That is illusion. So intelligence, mind, and false ego, everything is corrupted. So what should I do? Tasmat tvam indriyanyado niyamya bharatarshava papmanam prajahi enam jnana vijnana nashana. Therefore, O Arjuna, best of the Bharatas, in the very beginning, curb this great symbol of sin, lust, by regulating the senses and slay this destroyer of knowledge and self-realization. So, Krishna is telling to Arjuna to regulate the senses from the very beginning so that he could curb the greatest sinful enemy, which destroys the urge for self-realization and specific knowledge of the self. Jnana refers to knowledge of self as distinguished from the non-self, that is body. In other words, knowledge of the spirit soul is not the body. Knowledge that the spirit soul is not the body, and Vijnan refers to specific knowledge of spirit soul's constitutional position and his relationship with the Supreme Soul. So Gyan and Vigyan में फर्क क्या है? First is Gyan, I am not this body. Vigyan is I am connected with, I am servant of Krishna. Like that. And how can we do that? इंद्रियाणि पराण्याहुर इंद्रियेभ्यः परम मन मनसस्तु परा बुद्धि यो बुद्धे परतस्तु सह. How to curb it from the very beginning? By knowing that the working senses are superior to dull matter. It is a matter, and senses are higher than that, superior than that. And mind is higher than the senses. Intelligence is still higher than the mind. And soul is even higher than the intelligence. And soul only requires Krishna's service, nothing else. And lust is simply connected with senses and sense objects. This far gap is there. So identity is there first the false ego thinks that I am matter. That's why he requires matter, sense objects. So identification is given to the false ego that no, you are not the sense enjoyer, you are the servant of Krishna. And these are the facilities given to you, mind and intelligence, to use best all the sense objects in the service of Krishna. Then that activity becomes love. Right? More specific, what to do? एवं बुद्धे परम बुद्ध्वा संस्तभ्यात्मानमात्मना जहि शत्रुं महाबाहो काम रूपम दुरासदम. Thus knowing oneself to be transcendental to the material senses. By knowledge, by practice of knowledge, we have to understand that we are transcendental to material senses, mind and intelligence. Just like a drop of oil on the water. It is on the water, but it has no connection. It is not mixed with water, aloof. So, mighty Arjuna, one should steady the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence, Krishna consciousness. And thus, by spiritual strength, conquer this insatiable enemy known as lust. So, this third chapter conclusion is given like that. So we have to know oneself as the eternal servitor of Krishna. So without considering impersonal voidism, we should know that after liberation we have to actually start serving Krishna. Nirvana means after death you start, after mukti you start service, actual service. In the material existence of life, one is certainly influenced by the propensity for lust and desire for dominating resources of material nature. Because that is the jail mein, what do you think jail mein public will respect everybody? Gale mileenge? No, they will actually fight. But that is the jail. So material world means lusty activity. That is by nature. Desire for overloading and for sense gratification is the greatest enemy for conditioning. But by the strength of Krishna consciousness, one can control the material senses, mind, and intelligence. One may not give up work and prescribed duties all of a sudden. But by gradually developing Krishna consciousness, one can be situated in transcendental position without being influenced by the material senses and mind. By steady intelligence directed towards one's pure identity. This is the sum total of this chapter. So don't give up work. Arjuna, fight. But give up your proprietorship or any want of profit, and give up lethargy. Be in knowledge of me. You are my servant, following my order. Like that. This four is very important. So like that, then the lust can be conquered. In the immature stage of material existence, philosophical speculations and artificial attempts to control senses by so-called practice of yogic posture can never help a man towards spiritual life. He must be trained in Krishna consciousness by higher intelligence. And higher intelligence is means bona fide spiritual master. Under the bona fide spiritual. Then he can actually train different uh, persons. If somebody is under different level, policy wise क्या है? How to make somebody obedient. Guru knows best. Like that. Hare Krishna. What is? Trail? Uh-huh. Higher intelligence is under the higher intelligence, under the bona fide spiritual master. So that is the training. You can't be trained alone or with the scripture only. No, you need a personal guidance, guru, under the guidance of guru. Then we can actually train ourselves. Okay. Take down the questions.